Hey, what's up, you wrestling fanatics and friends? You're listening to the True Wrestling Podcast, episode 97. Thanks for tuning in. Today, Rylan Rogers, number 11 on Willie's pound for pound list, and future Michigan Wolverine, will break down this weekend's Ohio State-Michigan matchup. You can also expect us to do a preview of the Michigan-Penn State match next weekend. If you haven't had a chance to check out my NCAA coaches surveys, you should check them out on my Rockfin page. I'd also like to thank my sponsor, Adidas Wrestling. You can follow them at Adidas Wrestling on Twitter and adidaswrestling.com on the interwebs. Without further delay, here is our preview. Back with Rylan Rogers, future Michigan Wolverine. We're going to do a little preview of the Ohio State-Michigan match. As you know, Rylan is going to be going there next year, right?
Yep, next year.
Awesome. So pretty good duel. I have Michigan coming in as the number 3 duel team behind Penn State and Iowa. And I got Ohio State coming in at 7 behind Oklahoma State, North Carolina State, and Arizona State. I think Ohio State matches up really well with Oklahoma State, and you can bicker with dual rankings, but that's kind of where I got these guys lined up right now. Any thoughts on the teams in general?
Yeah, I think they're both pretty good teams. I think, there's actually the upper weights, I would say, for Ohio State. That's where, on paper we're favored, but there's some really good guys they have there, so we have to make sure we're coming ready to go for sure.
Right, there's going to be some really good matchups here. Let's just start at 125, where we think it'll be Malik Councilman versus Nick Suriano. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think this is. Suriano's been back for 2 matches. I think he looked good. Obviously, I don't think Suriano's guy is going to be out of shape. I don't think that's ever going to be an issue with that guy. So I think he'll be ready to go. And then Heinzelman's tough too. He's gotten a lot better over these last couple of years. I think he from what I saw, he took 1 loss this year to Brandon Kaler, actually a Washington kid. So, but Kaler's had a good season as well. But I would say, for me, I think I'm going to go Suriano by decision for now. I could see him possibly getting a major, but I think for me, the safe bet is decision.
Gotcha. Suriano, he's dropped down to 125 this year. He looked big when I watched him wrestle Gage Curry. Heinzelman's gotten bigger. As you mentioned, he's better this year. I think he's filled into a legit 125-pounder. I think 2 years ago, he was weighing in at like 120. So he's gotten bigger. Heinzelman beat Curry in a close match. I think it was a 2 or 3 point match. Suriano dominated him. I think he's too big and powerful right now for Heinzelman. I think he's going to finish pretty quickly on Heinzelman, and that's going to, Suriano, when he gets in, he has those powerful finishes. I don't think Heinzelman will be able to flunk him, and to me, it comes down to either a major or a tech. I'm going to go +4 for Suriano. We'll see what his gas tank is like making this cut. I think, Heinzelman being better than Curry, or at least beating him so far this season, be more of a test for his cardio. So you're going to go +3 for Suriano or +4?
I'll go major.
Major? All right, so both of us going with a major decision. 133, it looks like, I think it's going to be Will Betancourt, who transferred from Lock Haven last year, could be Kuntz, versus Dylan Ragusin. What are you thinking?
Yeah, Ragusin, I think we saw him at, I know Coach isn't one to say much, but I would say there was some COVID stuff going on there. And I think you're going to see a much better version of Dylan in this duel. Now he's gotten some practices in, because he was out for about 10 days without any practices or anything. So I think Ragusin by decision. Betancourt is tough as well. I don't know Coons as well, but I know Will pretty well, and but I would have to say Ragusin by decision.
Gotcha. So Ragusin won the Cliff Keen. Wasn't a super strong bracket, but he definitely won it. Betancourt, he got teched by Rayvon Foley who's the 11 seed. Ragusan's coming in, or 11th ranked guy right now in the country. Ragusan's in the coming in around 13 or 14. I like Betancourt. I think he's got a high upside, but to me, again, it looks like bonus points for the Wolverines. I'm going +4 for Ragusan.
You're going +4? I'll stick with decision.
Okay. Going up to 141, we got Ohio State. I think it'll be Dylan D'Amelio. And for Michigan, Stefan Micic. Thoughts on that? I know that I think he was also coming back from being sick, but you tell me.
Yeah, I don't know with Micic. I do know he hasn't wrestled in 2 years. So, I mean, I don't think freestyle and folk style, I'll say from personal experience, is so much different. And so I think first couple matches he hasn't looked quite as, I mean, he's looked good, but definitely you get tired a lot quicker in folk style with the top riding, and it's just your forearm. It's a different type of fatigue. And so obviously I think in that match finishing was an issue against Matthews.
Yep.
And I've actually wrestled with D'Amelio on my visit, and that is, I would say, his strength is finishing. So it'll be a good contrast. See if Micic. I mean, I would assume he's going to get in on many attacks. He's super slick, but it's a matter of can he finish. And D'Amelio's tough to finish on. So I'm going to stick with Micic with the decision. I think he gets. I do know that D'Amelio beat Matthews as well. I'm pretty sure. So
yep. Dylan did beat Matthews. Matthews beat Micic. Transitive property, but more practice time for Micic to me makes me feel like he's got a higher upside. He's an Olympian. He's an All-American. I'm going to go with a regular decision, but I wouldn't be surprised. Like D'Amelio's counters, if he can take Micic into those deep waters and the cardio's not right, you start wondering. But I'm going with Micic +3.
I'm going to stick with that as well.
Okay. Wow. Blue is looking strong.
So far, so good.
Cruising up to 49. Got Sammy Sasso out of the Lehigh Valley versus Cole Matten. Sasso comes in ranked probably number 2. Matten hasn't really cracked the rankings. Thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I think on paper we're looking at a possible contender, and then Cole's tough. He's he got third at Cliff Keen on the backside, so I think it's hard to say. I mean, the thing I always think about with Sasso is if you get him on his right leg, Cole shoots a lot, and Sasso's defense, not only does he score most of the time, he pins. He
pins
big. A lot of people.
Yeah.
So I think Cole's going to have to pick his spots. Personally, I'd love to see Cole battle with him, but I think, I don't know what. Sasso here, I think I'm going to go with Sasso. It's hard to pick a pin, but I think I'm going to go Sasso Major.
Gotcha. Yep, Sasso's only loss was at the Cliff Keen to Yanni. And Yanni, I thought that would be a closer match. It's early in the season. No one's peaking for the Cliff Keen. I don't think Matten may have felt as many counters as Sasso has on that right side. I mean, a lot of guys, I think it's a little bit of positions they might not be used to. Because obviously when he's taking you to your back from a counter to that shot, it's something you haven't felt. So we'll see if Cole has felt that before and can adjust. Sasso has bonused most of the guys outside of the top 20 that he's wrestled in the last year and a half. I'm going to take +4 for Sammy. What are you going to do?
+4 as well.
Man, we're almost twins here, Rylan. I mean, minus the hair.
I know.
Going up to 57, we got 2 guys coming in who are pretty evenly ranked right now. Josh Hubbard and Will Luan. Thoughts?
I think this will be, Will wrestles, his defense is really good, so it's usually 3-1, 3-2. I would say that's his strength, is his defense. He's never out of any match, Will isn't. And Hubbard, I saw he took out Cleary earlier this year. That was one match I watched. He's tough.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably say Will in like a 3-2-ish match.
Gotcha.
So
I'm gonna go with Hubbard winning in a takedown in the last 30 seconds. I think that we'll see. I like his attack style, and I like some of the positions he gets into from neutral. So we're splitting up our vote here. We'll go +3 on each side.
There we go.
But it should be a good match, and that starts a string of pretty closely ranked guys here that are going to be facing each other. At 65, we got Carson Karchla comes in somewhere between 5 and 8, and we got Cam Amin coming in between 8 and 11. What are your thoughts?
I think this is going to be a good test for Cam. I think, honestly, Karchla, I'd put him in the title contender conversation for sure. And Cam's young, so is Karchla. But I would say in this match, I would go with Karchla by decision. Probably. I think I'm a big Karchla fan. I think I've watched him wrestle in high school when I was at Blair. Watched him wrestle Julian like 3 times. So, and honestly, Karchla or O'Toole would be my pick to win it all this year. So, I'm gonna go with Karchla by decision.
Really good offense. He beat Amin 3-2, a few years ago. He had a really good season last year. Slightly better record versus common opponents. You mentioned he beat Ramirez. That was a Blair, but he beat him at Cliff Keen again, right?
Yeah. And Cam, I'm pretty sure, lost to Julian on the backside.
Gotcha. So that's exactly right. I think it was on the backside. So I'm going to end up taking Karchla here. The only thing that I wonder about is if Michigan has a ton of momentum coming into this match, if it just pumps everybody up. I'm going to take Karchla +3, but this is going to be one that I'm really looking forward to. I like both these guys' style.
They both get after it for sure.
Yeah, they go. So what are you going to do here?
I'm going to go +3 for Karchla as well.
Okay. Hope you're good at math here on the fly when we add this all up at the end. This leads us into another really good match. We got Ethan Smith, highly ranked. Logan Massa comes in, highly ranked. Both guys really quality dudes. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think this is going to be, in my opinion, this is a big toss-up. I mean, we got Massa, who's obviously he's had a great career. He's won senior nationals. He's All-American. Always been the top. I would say top 5 guy.
Yep.
And then you got Ethan Smith, who he made the semis last year. Did he take? I know he made the semis. Dang near made the finals and beat Wenzel, but
right.
He looked good at Cliff Keen as well. Just being that Massa hasn't wrestled a whole lot, and I know he recently had a kid,
right.
And so I don't know how much he's been in the room. He looked good in that first duel, but I think I'll go Smith by decision. And kind of an upset.
I'm not sure. Do you know how much work it was to get him back on the team this year?
Yeah, it was. I don't think he was going to come back unless after Suriano transferred and then Miles and Stefan came back.
That was it, right?
But when I was out there on my recruiting visit, they didn't really mention him coming back. So
gotcha. I like the way Smith has improved. This is no knock on Massa, but it's hard to improve when you've got a kid. Like, there's so much more stuff in your life. We saw that with, what's his name from Ohio State a few years ago? I'm drawing a blank. Bo Jordan. Like, great wrestler. But when you start having a family and your time gets divided. So I'm taking Smith. I like both guys. Massa has been around a long time. I love some of the battles he's had with Mark Hall and exactly. So I'm going to take Smith, but and this might be if Massa is really in good shape. This is like not only is it a toss up, it's a match. It's another marquee matchup.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'll be curious to see. I think it's a good test for to kind of see where Logan's at.
Yeah.
But also preparing him for March as well.
So are you taking Logan or are you taking Ethan?
I'm taking Smith by decision.
Okay, +3, both. And yet again, here is another pretty good match coming up. We got Caleb Romero and Miles Amin. Miles Amin has had a pretty amazing last year. Caleb Romero looks like he's improved. Romero won the Cliff Keen, beat Tyler Venz in the finals, and Venz last year looked like really a stud. Thoughts?
Yeah, we got the two handball champs. Every room I saw on both visits, they were both they ranked themselves as the number one handball player on each team. So no, actually, Romero's an athlete, and so is Miles. They're kind of one of those kids that they're both good at everything, like just super athletic and everything. So I would say I think it's going to be a lot closer and a really good test for Miles. I mean, he's looked really good so far, beating Mark Hall. Yep. Now, the thing is I would say Romero's wrestling folk style full time.
Yep.
Where Mark Hall was kind of, I mean, like I said, it's different wrestling folk style than it is freestyle. So yeah. I think this will be closer than people think, but I think I'm going to stick with Miles by decision.
Now, I'm going to go that way also. I mean, I think his neutral game has improved, but I also think there's something clicked for him mentally in the last year. Like he just looks to have a different level of confidence, and it shows in his success.
Yeah, I think he's sauce. I think that he can go with everyone on the world level now. And, I mean, when you're an Olympic bronze medalist, that's got to give you some sense of confidence that you can go with anyone out there. And so I think, I think he's mentally knows he can win those tight matches against, I mean, I think he was over 5 against Mark Hall. And it would be like 3-2 match every single time.
Right.
So I think, and he finally got over that hump.
Yep.
Where he can now, I think, stay mentally composed in those tight matches, and he has the self-confidence that he can get it done. So I got Miles in a close match, but I would say Miles wins by decision.
I got a regular decisions for Amin as well, but I just want to go back to something talking about Romero and Amin being handball champs in the room. I know you play a lot of handball. Did you play these guys?
I played a little bit in Ohio State's room. I just watched in Michigan's room. But Miles, I'm not much of a handball player. I kind of like try to look busy, but and try to look like I'm good. But I'm really not in on the action all that much. But no, these guys are Miles doing behind the backs. They both were actually. They're both doing like crazy throws, just freak athletes. But yeah, that should make the match interesting.
Should. Athletic guys, and I'm looking forward to it again. Just another one. I mean, right now it looks like Michigan is ahead, but there's going to be some really quality individual duels, and some that look like they could be toss-ups. So this could go either way. Going up to 97, we got Gavin Hoffman from Ohio State coming in somewhere between 20 and 30. We got Pat Bruckey, or as what's his face says, Brookie. Bruckey's back from some injuries, coming over from Princeton. He defeated Hoffman at the Cliff Keen 8-5. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
Yeah, I'm liking Bruckey's another guy who's kind of similar to Micic. He hasn't wrestled in a long time. So I think it's really good for them to get these, being a Michigan fan, I think it's really good for all these guys, Massa, Miles, Bruckey, and Micic, Suriano, to get these matches in early, these tough ones. They might not look their best now, but it's going to prepare them for March, no doubt. So I think Bruckey's finally getting back into kind of the swing of things. not that he ever looked bad. He just wasn't. He was losing to really good guys. He just wasn't quite. I think he can win those matches. Like beating Bonnet, of course, he was big this last duel. So I got Brucky by decision.
Gotcha. I know Pat a little bit, and I know he's rebuilt his body. He's had a lot of injuries. He looks like he's better. He's got stash power. I will say that I've been trying to bribe him to convince Suriano to grow a mustache. I think to go with that hair. Nick needs a mustache. I think you need a mustache, Rylan. But
I don't know if I got the facial hair to grow a mustache yet. I'll try to.
I will say that some of historically Brucky's toughest matches have been against guys who are a bit funky. Hoffman is funky, funkier. I know that Brucky. I think it was Darmstadt gave him fits for his freshman and sophomore season, I believe. And I mean, Brucky's power shots are the only thing I find that you can do is use that kind of Darmstadt counter. I don't think Hoffman has the riding power, the legs that Darmstadt had to keep Brucky down. So I'm taking Brucky in a decision, and +3 Brucky.
Yeah, that's kind of where I got. Similar to their Cliff King match, like an 8-5-ish.
I agree. And then final match, or maybe not the final match, depending if they draw. But big guys, 285. We got Tate Orndorff coming in just outside the top 10 versus Mason Paris, who looks like a pretty clear 2. Paris had a tech over Orndorff last year, 20-5, all takedowns with releases. Thoughts on the match?
Yeah, well, I like both these guys. I mean, Orndorff, Spokane guy, so I'd love to see him. I'd love to see this be a really close match. But like you said, I think when you look, there's one guy who can somewhat go with Gable, and that's debatable at times because we just saw what Gable did to Cassiope. But I think he's the clear number 2 guy. I think there's tier 1 Gable, then there's tier 2 Mason, and probably Kirkfleet, and then I would say Cassiope and the rest of the guys are below. So I would say for this match, I think I got Paris by attack.
I agree with you on both the levels, and I'm not sure that Kirkfleet will make that jump. I know he had a close match with Stevenson in high school, but there was a big weight difference there. Anyway, I'm going with Paris. I think Orndorff would have to stop Paris's attacks. I think if Stevenson wasn't in the 285 division, we'd all be talking about Paris, right? World junior was he a silver junior medalist?
Gold medalist.
Gold medalist.
That Zare guy who just won worlds.
That's it.
He pinned him. So,
right. So we'd be talking about Paris being a dominant heavyweight like we are Stevenson if there wasn't Gable Stevenson. So I think Orndorff, the best thing he can do is try to stop some of those attacks, but Paris has got a gas tank on him. And he's one of the few guys I've talked to that, like, I believe it when he tells me he wants to wrestle Gable Stevenson. He wants Stevenson to stay in the NCAA so he can wrestle him more. Right? There's some guys who will tell you that, but I don't always believe it.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think I know Mason wants another shot at him, and I think Orndorff's best shot to win in this match is he's got to get to. He's a Greco guy, really big Greco guy. He has to get to a body lock situation. So look for some throws. I mean, I would say Mason's not as experienced upper body wise. That's why that match. I forgot Colton Schultz actually, by the way. In that, I would say he's in that tier with. Could maybe go with Mason, but yeah, I think Mason's not as experienced upper body wise. He shoots a lot, and I think that's why he has success. So Orndorff's best shot is to get into those upper body ties for sure.
I agree.
Like I said, Paris dominating.
I agree with you. The upper body locks because of that Greco background, and then I just think, well, that'll be a test. Paris has set all these strength records at Michigan as a freshman. If he gets into that lock, can the technique and leverage, overtake Paris's strength? And that'd be a curious thing to see, especially if he's down. If he gets into it and gets a little loose on those locks and maybe lets it fly.
Yeah, I know Paris is like freaky strong. Like, some people say it's, like, hard to drill with him because he's so strong.
Yeah.
And, like, I think I forget if it was his Coach Bolyar's bicep or something. He, like, blew out it was either his ACL or completely blew out his bicep when they were wrestling in practice. Like, it's just freaky strong. But, yeah, I think, like you said, I think Paris will handle him pretty good.
All right, so right now it looks like we agree we got 8, 11, 14, 17, 21, and 25 for you, for Michigan. And then you've got 3, 6, 10, Ohio State. And I think that I've got, what do I have? One more for Ohio State. So I've got 13 to 22. So both of us got Michigan. Yeah. Do I have that right?
Yeah, so I'm counting mine right now. So 10, 16, 24 to, it looks like, I got 24 to 10 Michigan.
All right. So, and I've got 13 to 21 or 22. But we won't bore the fans with my old math. Rylan, this has been a good time. We'll see how close we get. And let's do this next week for Michigan, Penn State.
Yeah, that one I think we'll see. That one will be a lot more toss-ups, I would say, for sure.
I agree. All right, good talk.